You picked up your phone today before you even got out of bed. Maybe you told yourself you were checking the time, but then you checked your messages, then your notifications, then something else you can't quite name. And by the time you put it down, 5 minutes had disappeared and you weren't even sure why you'd picked it up in the first place. This happens to you dozens of times a day, and you probably assume it's a bad habit, a weakness, a modern problem created by tech companies who are just too good at their jobs. But the real answer is far stranger. Because what's pulling you back to that screen has nothing to do with Instagram or push notifications or algorithm design. It's something your brain has been doing for 2 million years. Long before the screen, long before electricity, long before language. Your brain is scanning for information that might keep you alive. Let's go back. Not 10 years, not 50. 2 million years ago, your ancestors woke up every single morning in a world that was actively trying to kill them. Predators, rival groups, drought, disease, famine. The environment was not neutral, it was hostile, and survival depended entirely on one thing: knowing what had changed since the last time you checked. This is what researchers call the information foraging theory. Psychologist Piroska Csikszentmihalyi, building on earlier work by cognitive scientist Peter Piroli at Xerox PARC, showed that the human brain treats information the same way it treats food. You don't wander randomly looking for berries. You scan for patches. You move toward areas of likely reward. You check, assess, move on, and check again. Your brain is not browsing, it is hunting. And what does a hunter do when the environment goes quiet? It doesn't relax. It gets more alert. Because silence in a dangerous world doesn't mean safety. It means you haven't found the threat yet. Now hold that thought. Around 150,000 years ago, your ancestors began living in social groups of roughly 50 to 150 people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at Oxford University famously calculated this number after noticing a near-perfect correlation between primate brain size and social group size. The bigger the brain, the more relationships it could track. And for your ancestors, tracking those relationships wasn't a social luxury, it was a survival strategy. Who was angry at whom? Who had formed a new alliance? Who had left camp and not come back? Who was sick? Who had found food? Who had lied? The social landscape was as important as the physical one. Miss a shift in group dynamics, and you might find yourself without allies at exactly the wrong moment. Without food during a shortage. Excluded, alone. And alone in that world meant dead. So your brain evolved to be obsessed with social information, not because it's nosy, because social monitoring was survival. The brain circuits that tracked group dynamics, that lit up when something changed in your social world, those circuits were selected for over hundreds of thousands of years. The ancestors who didn't care, who weren't watching, who didn't notice the shift in who was talking to whom, those ancestors didn't survive long enough to become your ancestors. You carry their vigilance every single day. Now fast forward to your phone. What is your phone? At its core, it is a portal to your social group. It shows you who is angry, who is forming new alliances, who is suffering, who is thriving, who said something that shifted the group dynamic. It delivers a constant, never-ending stream of exactly the kind of information your brain was designed to monitor. And unlike the ancient savanna, where information updates came slowly, your phone delivers updates every few seconds. This is not a metaphor. Neuroscientist Dar Meshi at Michigan State University conducted brain imaging studies that showed the same neural reward circuits that activate when you receive food or money or social approval also activate when you receive positive information on social media. Your brain does not distinguish between finding out that your ally brought meat back to camp and finding out that your post got 30 likes. The circuitry is identical. The dopamine release is real. But here's the part nobody talks about. It's not the reward that makes you check, it's the uncertainty. Psychologist B.F. Skinner demonstrated this in the 1950s with what he called variable ratio reinforcement. When a reward is delivered on a fixed schedule, animals learn to anticipate it and stay calm in between. But when a reward is delivered randomly, unpredictably, sometimes after one check and sometimes after 20, the checking behavior becomes compulsive. The animal checks constantly. Not because the reward is frequent, because it might come at any moment. Your phone runs on variable ratio reinforcement. Most of the time you check, nothing significant has happened. A meme, a promotional email, silence. But occasionally, something important is there. A message that matters, information that changes something. And because you can't predict when that moment will come, your brain tells you to keep checking, keep scanning, don't stop. The signal might be there this time. This is the mechanism. This is the actual engine under the compulsion, and it goes even deeper than social reward. Research from the University of California, San Diego found that the average American consumes roughly 34 gigabytes of information per day. That number has roughly tripled since 1980. And yet, despite consuming more information than any human beings in history, people report feeling less informed, more anxious, and less certain about the world around them. The more information you consume, the more uncertain you feel. And the more uncertain you feel, the more you scan. This is the trap your ancient brain never evolved to escape. In the prehistoric environment, more scanning generally led to more certainty. You checked the tree line, you saw no predator, you relaxed. But in an information environment of infinite complexity and infinite noise, more scanning never resolves the uncertainty. It amplifies it. Every check reveals new things you didn't know, new shifts in the social landscape, new signals you haven't yet decoded. The scan never ends because the environment never goes quiet. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do, in the exact wrong environment to do it in. This is why willpower doesn't work. You are not fighting a bad habit. You are fighting a survival mechanism that kept your species alive through ice ages, famines, and predators that could outrun and outfight you. You are trying to override a system that evolution spent 2 million years reinforcing. That doesn't mean you're helpless, but it does mean you need a different frame. When researchers at the University of British Columbia asked participants to check their email only 3 times per day instead of continuously, anxiety levels dropped significantly. Not because the information changed, because the scanning interval was scheduled. The brain's need to monitor was honored, but the compulsive loop was interrupted. The uncertainty didn't disappear. It was managed. Understanding the mechanism changes everything, because when you reach for your phone without knowing why, you now know why. Your ancient brain has detected a quiet moment. It has flagged this as a potential gap in your social intelligence. It is sending you back to scan the tree line one more time. The threat isn't real, but the signal is ancient. And the next time you find yourself picking up your phone before you've even gotten out of bed, you'll understand exactly what's happening. Not a bad habit, not weakness, not a failure of modern willpower. 2 million years of survival programming firing perfectly in a world it was never designed for. You picked up your phone today before you even got out of bed. Now you know why.